What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Grimey Pod. We're going to be discussing three more movies for you. We're going to be discussing The Village, Lady in the Water, and the infamous The Happening. Again, spoiler warning for these. We're going to start off with
full-on spoilers, maybe.
Full-on spoilers, yes. We're going to start off with The Village. The cast in this movie, Roger Deakins in this movie. The music again. I mean, James Newton Howard killing it.
Yes.
Just that in itself, if that's not appealing to you, I mean, I don't know what's wrong with you. But that they give this movie a great light, and I really enjoy it from that perspective. Now the story, that's a different story. I feel like the reveal I didn't really like too much. I did like the timepiece for it. I felt like it was really well, felt legit. I didn't like the whole switch up that the monsters are the actual villagers. I didn't like the switch up that this is that they're in modern times. I just didn't really feel for that. I felt like it was kind of an easy scapegoat to make this movie have a twist when it didn't need to be like that. First time I saw it, I remember really being invested in these monsters and seeing these great actors deal with these problems, and it kind of gets to that. I really do feel it. It ends up turning into a love story, which I like. I do enjoy the whole Joaquin Phoenix and Bryce Dallas Howard connection. It's kind of subtle, but it works. I enjoy it. I don't mind it. And then you see Adrian Brody's character kind of being like the antagonist per se of this movie, and I mean, it kind of comes out of left field a bit, but I enjoy it as well. Again, my only issue was the twist. I feel like, again, it kind of, I don't know, it took it away a bit for me, and I didn't really enjoy it.
I think I liked this movie. I don't know if it's the best, but I enjoyed this movie. I also watched it a long time ago when it first came out, because I watched this movie in theaters, so I have that coming into it. Okay. I think this one is the best shot out of the three movies. Far. Yeah, by far. I didn't mind the twist. I think this twist within these three movies is the most M.Night, in my opinion. Like, the most that goes back to... Well, it
feels like the only twist of the three movies that we watched.
Like, the cast is amazing.
I know, yeah, that's true. Yeah, like Sigourney Weaver is like the fourth name on the credits. I was like, whoa. Yeah. No, it's a really good cast, man. They really do, and it's bread and butter with the shooting of this movie. It flows really well. You get engaged really well, and that's one thing that it's hard for a movie to do. I mean, we talked about in Signs, it kind of was a mess, but this one, it definitely flows well. You have the actors kind of flow well with it.
Despite her doing good for everything else, I did not believe for 1 second that Bryce Dallas Howard was blind. A lot of Daredevil with, I think the actor's name is Charlie Cox, who plays him. I believe that he's blind. Like, the way that he doesn't hold eye contact and the way that his eyes dart around, because, like, that's just not a muscle that he's using properly because he's blind. Mm-hmm. In this one, I believed that the character was blind, but I didn't believe that Bryce Dallas Howard was blind.
I don't think anyone has an arc in this movie. No. With the exception of the elders for like half a second. Actually, when they're debating with their debating on letting Ivy go to the towns. There's like that slight arc, but I mean, it's almost, at the end of the movie, they're back where they were, because now like they just understand that how important Ivy and Lucius are to their well-being for the future. Yeah. That's
almost
the
like a
only
shift in perspective rather than an actual arc, just because there isn't that much change that comes from it. They just realize like, oh, you know what? Like, this is like, we tried to create this safe haven. It worked really well for a long time. I'm grateful for what we had, but we can't let it come at the cost of, these two lovers being separated. If this doesn't work anymore because of that, then that's okay, because this is more important. Like, I feel like that shift in perspective is kind of the crux of the movie.
Tyler Langford's word of the day: crux. The decisive or most important point at issue.
Yeah.
Correct.
Without it necessarily being
Right.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to talk about the shots though. I do like the fact that the shots when Lucius is alive, it's very bright, very like it just looks beautiful. And then I noticed that when he dies, everything just turns dead, and I like that a lot. I like that the visual kind of gives it a story, and that's something Roger Deakins really does well, and I just
He
really
does.
enjoy that a lot. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I also think like you can see Deacon's like camera moves too fast
I
enough.
will literally never remember to do this on time. Where is he? He's in the reflection. He's right here.
I know.
Yeah,
one of Shyamalan's
biggest
regrets about this. Yeah, I think I heard about it from Chris Stuckman.
I did too.
Okay, yeah.
I don't remember this. I don't remember this.
Yeah.
So when Chris Stuckman was reviewing all of Shyamalan's movies in anticipation, it was either in anticipation for Split or Glass. I can't remember. But when he reviewed The Village, he talked about how he met Shyamalan at, I think, some sort of Comic-Con or something like that. And he asked him, like, what was, like, if you could do something differently in your career, what would you do? And he said he would change the marketing of the movie, of The Village, because it's presented
as a monster movie.
It's presented as a horror movie, which is not at all the case. There's nothing about this movie that's remotely scary.
No.
This is a love story.
It's a love story with thriller aspects.
It's a very romanticized story. Also, not just a romance. Like everything about it is very almost like it's more whimsical than anything that we've seen from him before.
And I also think that romanticize is a really good word, because this whole society is very romanticized. Like these people uplifted their lives and their families to create this place, and it's just this romantic idea that they can keep the safe haven forever when I mean one day it's definitely gonna fall apart.
I read through the Voodoo Parent Guide, which is fucking hilarious in most movies, but for this movie it says, quote, "This is a very tense and scary thriller that may be too much for some tweens and young teens," which isn't that what a tween is? What the fuck? There are scenes with nightmarish imagery, including animal corpses, and the demonic imagery of mysterious monsters in red. I'm like, this isn't a scary movie at all.
But the thing is, how do you market a movie like this? Like,
you market it as a love story. I really feel like you should.
Yeah, but but you're so used to M.Night Shyamalan
Valentine's Day thing.
Yeah, but you're so used to M.Night Shyamalan thrillers. It's like he's doing this romance. He's doing this romance thing. It's like, I don't know. I feel it's like The Happening, for instance. You see what The Happening is about. It's like, I'm okay. I think it's the same thing if you were to promote it as a romance. It'd be like, I don't know, man. I don't know. But and that's why he shows the monsters, because it's like that's his style. That's his.
No idea how I would market this.
Exactly.
No, and I mean, this is why we're all not marketing majors. But
but it's like I would see this movie, knowing what I know now, having seen it. Like I would see it, but I would have no idea how to describe it to somebody. It wasn't scary to me, but I felt like the fear that the characters felt was
very real,
very well.
Yes.
So like
I agree to that.
I believed that the characters were afraid of the lie that they're being told. Because that's sort of the reveal, is like, oh, we've been lying to you the whole time. Not, oh, it's people, oh, it's present day. Like, no, we've been lying is kind of the twist, I guess. But like, I believed in their fear, which made it effective for me. I wasn't scared, but I was like, oh yeah, I see how you guys are in this situation. Like it makes sense.
And that goes back to, for me, it's just the acting, the music, and the shots carry this movie. To me, the story just wasn't there for me. That was all.
This is one of his better presented movies in terms of all that stuff. Like all the elements that come together. I think
as a whole,
really like
that's fair. That's fair.
Like,
okay.
With all of the performances, with the music, the shots, the editing, I thought was really strong. Also, like the way that they revealed the information at the end, I thought made sense. Like they could have done that in a different way, because they did it non-sequentially.
Mm-hmm.
So it could have been done different, but I thought the way they did it was very smart.
Do you think this is a step up from Signs or step down?
I think this is a big step up. This is is back to what he was. I'd say with like stopping at The Village, Shyamalan is 3 for 4.
Let's get to our ratings for The Village, guys. I think we did a good discussion with it. Do you guys want to start off? Ronnie, what would you rate The Village? I'm curious to know.
So I'll say a 7.5. I'll say a 7.
There you go. Hey, yeah.
I believe in the 0.5. I believe in the 0.5 system. I probably won't watch The Village for like another decade because it is. I mean, I still enjoyed the movie. I think that the pacing is a lot easier to handle, which I give all the credit to Deacon's shots because they're so dynamic that you don't. That slow pace doesn't seem as slow. I think when you're being pulled in by these beautiful shots throughout the movie.
What about you, Tyler?
I'm gonna give The Village a 7 out of 10. I definitely agree with you, Ronnie, with how like the way that it's presented makes it feel a lot quicker than it actually is. I think another element that I don't know if we mentioned earlier, the music ties together this scenes really well. This is, again, my first time seeing it, so I didn't really know what to expect, and I'm very happy that I watched it. I can see myself watching this again eventually. I don't know when, but I'll probably at some point be like, oh yeah, I liked The Village. I'll watch that again.
I think I'm going to go with 8, though, just because of the shots. I do think this is a movie you have to watch for, like, it's good for the first time you view it. It's kind of similar to, like The Sixth Sense in a sense, or just all his movies really. It's like the first time viewing is the best one, and I feel like this is another one of those types of movies where it's like solely relied on that first viewing. But again, like I said, you could still reference from this a lot, and in the sense of emotion to that first viewing, it's just a lot better. But you still kind of feel it a little bit when you watch it again. But I think that plays well with just the shots again and the performance. But yeah, no, it's a good time. Probably will watch it. I don't know when, but I'd recommend it definitely. Now let's go to our next movie, which I have never seen before. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I had seen this before.
I had never seen this before prior to my viewing on Monday.
And so the movie we're talking about is Lady in the Water, which I had no idea what this movie is about. I didn't know. I thought this was.
If I had a gun to my head, I could not fucking tell you the plot of this movie.
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say what one more goddamn time.
From the intro and perspective, I did not like that cartoon. I felt like that thing.
Oh my god!
For so long, and I didn't care.
Well, no, I think the style of drawing works, but that intro is like 3 minutes long. Yeah. And if you need that much time
to say
with animation to say your piece,
then might as well just keep it as an animation. Like,
well, it's also I'm like, I don't know if film is the medium that you need to be telling the story in, and also why did we get a 3-minute animated intro of all this when we have the Asian tenant doing that the entire movie anyways? Well, I'm like, you could have gone in the same way and I would have gotten the same information because the fucking intro didn't do shit.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, mermaids, eagles, cool.
It's so full of information. Like I was brain dead after this because of how much was communicated to me and how little any of it made sense. Like, especially that scene where it was, I don't remember any of the characters' names except for Cleveland Heap. What a name. Fucking A+. God damn it. But it was the Asian, the one that spoke English, and she, like, said something about like, you know, every once in a generation of Narfs, there's like a Narf who's the Madam Narf, and it's like, why? What the fuck?
Like, I tried to get engaged to this movie. I really did. I really wanted to. I love Paul Giamatti and everything he does.
This cast too. I was like,
well,
whoa,
except for
this
M.Night
casting.
Shyamalan. Except for M.Night Shyamalan. I don't think he should have.
Are we talking about him already?
Dude,
Let's
talk about cast. We're talking about casting. So I don't know what made him believe that he could. I mean, and I give him kudos.
Character.
Yeah, I give him kudos. I give him kudos for trying to act. That's fine. If you want to do that, that's fine. But this man had a damn near like legit character in this movie. He has and he has in the past. You know, in Signs, he had a really big character. Even in the. But
he's only in 2 shots.
Character.
But he only has 2 shots.
Exactly.
It's like
this one. It's like, yo,
you
I want
to.
Yeah.
He cast himself as the writer who's going to save the world.
The disappointing thing is that I think that character I would be totally fine with.
It wasn't him.
If it wasn't fucking him.
Dude, it's so much better that it is him, though. Like, it's so much funnier. This movie is really funny.
Yeah, no, it is.
Really goddamn funny.
It really
I
is.
was trying, like, because I'm not going to lie, I actually was genuinely engaged in this movie. The reason why I was engaged is because I didn't fucking understand it. I had to be engaged because I was like, okay, I feel like obviously I was like doing some stuff on my phone and I'm watching this movie and I'm like, okay, I'm not really understanding this. Maybe I need to pay attention. But the Asian chick is on there because she's the exposition girl. So I'm going to watch this and then I'm like, what?
Like, okay, the movie started, besides the animation, the movie started off well. I love that the sync shot where like he's I don't know what the hell is going on with that.
No,
too.
It's because
it was good.
He gets like a rat. He gets a rat and it's
and it was great. I liked that.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was like, okay, that's cool, which is what they should have opened up with instead of this animation, but whatever. I like that a lot. And then it goes from the sync, you know, it goes up and then you kind of see Paul Giamatti showing this lieutenant around.
What do you mean, Paul Giamatti?
Which is cool. I loved it, and I love the stutter because it's like, oh, this guy has a little stutter. That's fine.
Yeah.
Then he gets to this guy named Reggie, which I don't know what the hell this was about. That's when it started steering left for me because I'm just
I was just like, why do all of
why is he talking
people?
to the camera? What?
Back up.
Well, it's just like it's for me. I'm just like, why do these characters already have to be caricatures?
Yeah.
Already off the bat, like I believed it. Where I was like, oh, these girls are like kind of ridiculous, but I believe it. It's like 5 girls in this freaking apartment.
Such horrible stereotypes. It's awful. I have to disagree with you guys on the stutter. That shit was horrible.
Look out! Ow! Cut it out, Marty! Hey, that kills, Marty!
Oh, no. Okay.
Well, I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying I don't mind it.
The thing I didn't like about it was he sees Bryce Dallas Howard's character, and then he says it's like, where's my stutter? It's like, nah, don't say that thing, dude. It just kind of like kills.
Don't say that.
Yeah, like you don't just say that. Like it just killed it because it was just like, I don't know how to explain it. Like it just made it so direct, and I didn't like that at all. It was terrible.
We lost you there for a second.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Were you frozen on your screen?
Yeah, you guys were frozen. I don't know what happened.
Oh shit! All right.
Okay. You have.
So this is a bedtime story that he's told to his kids. Like that's sort of what this movie is like.
So it's a real bedtime story.
Well, in the sense that it's what Shyamalan actually tells to his kids. Yeah. In which case, I hope that this is not the exact story. Because I feel fucking bad for those kids. Like that's what they have to get put down every night where it's like, okay, so there's a narf, and then there's a scrunt, and then there's a tiki, whatever the fuck they called that monkey thing. And then, like, this is such a confusing bedtime story. Regardless, anyway, when he went to pitch this, he originally pitched it to either Disney or a Disney subsidiary. I can't remember exactly.
Sounds like
and they told him, they're like, I don't understand what the fuck this is, but we'll give you the money so you can make the movie. And he said no. Because he's like, no, you don't understand my movie. You're not gonna be the ones behind this. I need people that like are backing me all the way, which I respect. Like I totally understand.
Yeah, I can actually respect that decision.
But also, I have a feeling he was the only one who ever understood this movie. I think this movie has a shockingly high budget of $70 million.
Wow.
What?
Wow.
And
with that CGI that doesn't even hold up?
They built that entire apartment complex because nothing like that exists outside of LA or Miami. They built this apartment complex. I have a theory that they made more money off of that than the movie. Like that's how they're recouping the losses.
I feel like what he did with these last two movies, like you have The Village where it's like you have a community and there's an outside force ruining it, rather than you have this movie where you have an inside force and then that's kind of fixing the community. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like
you
could kind of tell
the ensemble.
Yeah, you could kind of tell that like he wrote The Village, then he wrote this like right after. Like I don't know, it felt like he was trying to relate the two movies. Like I don't know, like you try to have that sense of community as being the protagonist in both of these movies, which I kind of didn't. I don't know why he had to do Blade in the Water, but
yeah,
I don't know. You could see that now. Honestly, I see that a lot.
He doesn't have like a full grounded foundation, and then he just like freaking hurls fantasy at it. It makes no fucking sense, because obviously like The Sixth Sense and Unbreakable is very fantastical, but those characters and those situations are very relatable, grounded, totally understandable.
And
like
it makes sense to the story.
And it totally makes sense to the story. But then all of a sudden it's just like, okay, apartment complex, and it's like, boom, mermaid, and you're like, what in the?
You can't mix those two things. I don't know.
Yeah, no, like I just don't think that he had too much.
He smoked
fantasy.
a little too much.
Yeah, no, like a little too many lines.
I think I mentioned this earlier. I think this movie's hilarious. I want to talk about what in this movie is awesome in that regard. Because I got a couple, like, what was your favorite scene in that sense? Like, what was the funniest scene in the movie for you guys? Because for me, it's kind of a three-way tie between the part where, like, at the very beginning, Cleveland Heap is carrying Story.
Yes. Yes. I know exactly what scene you're talking about.
Into the pool.
To the pool.
She runs back.
And then she points. And he's like, ah!
That was awesome. I thought that the end of where the movie critic was like saying, this is like a moment from a horror.
Oh my God.
That whole part was hilarious. I was like dying laughing.
Yeah. And it's things like that where we don't know if he's doing it on purpose or not.
No.
I have one piece of evidence to suggest that this was on purpose. Just one.
Okay.
If you watch through the credits, and you get maybe a couple minutes in, it will get to the part where it's crediting the music people. And under music score programming, the name is Chris P. Bacon. That's the only piece of evidence I have to suggest that this was all on purpose.
Honestly, yeah. I can see that.
He used the first take a lot in this movie.
He might have had to.
Yeah.
With $70 million, he did not have to. He could have flown the damn crew to LA.
Yeah.
Like afforded more of a shoot. That's a whole other.
But it's all about that.
Yeah.
It's all about that brotherly love. Really.
Do you want to get another take? You want to try that again, Paul? Like,
Hey,
I don't
Paul.
know.
I guess that brings us to our ratings. I think that's enough bashing on this movie. Lady in the Water. Let's start with Tyler. What would you rate this, Tyler?
So I was going to give it a 4.
Really?
But that's
pretty high. Yeah.
That's too
Yeah,
high.
I was gonna say. I was like really?
This is getting a 3 out of 10. It's because I enjoyed watching it. Like I was.
But you watched it as a comedy.
Watching this. Yeah, I watched this as a comedy.
Yeah, I didn't watch it as a comedy.
I think it's pretty funny.
I'm gonna say. I don't know if it's like it like 2.5.
Sure.
2.5 because I can't even follow it. Our basic job is to be able to tell a story that has a beginning, a middle, and an end that you can follow. This movie is 90% exposition, and I still don't fucking understand the story of the fucking Narf.
I think I'm gonna give this a 2. I wouldn't recommend this movie at all, though.
No, I wouldn't recommend this movie.
I would recommend this movie to everyone. It's so funny.
I probably won't. I probably will never. I probably will never see this movie again.
Nope.
But the only reason why I give it a 2 is because the certain shots that are there that we've mentioned.
The one shot.
Yeah, the one shot.
You guys are saying you'd never watch this again. I cannot wait to watch this again. Like once quarantine is lifted, get everyone together. This is gonna be a great time. Like this is like the equivalent of like Truth or Dare, where it's like you watch this to laugh at it. Like this is a
but like that's okay. So
it and it doesn't matter. Like
so that's understandable to me for The Happening. It's not as understandable for me for this because The Happening. You can at least follow.
Yeah, I will say that's true. I will say this was like that. This was that step. No, this was like that step.
Transition.
Definitely
down.
a step down. Yeah, definitely a step down. This is like that transition where it's like, okay, we're gonna see how this feels. We're gonna see how this feels. Okay, here's The Happening.
Like, well, it's also like if there's a triangle of like if there was like a hill of M.Night Shyamalan's like progression in storytelling ability and directing, it was like the first 4. And then it's like, and then this is where Lady in the Water
starts to fall. Yeah,
it's like that's
you're starting to see that hill go down.
Okay.
I mean, it sounds like we're transitioning.
Yeah. I think we're gonna go to the infamous. Oh my gosh. Go to the Dude, it's a plant. Stay in school. Science. We're talking to plants.
Still talking to it.
Why did you do that? Oh man. We're gonna talk about The Happening, guys. Which
So before we get too much into
let me get my notes because
I would very much like to share the drinking that I started with this movie.
Please drink responsibly. We do not condone alcohol poisoning.
No, we do not.
I condone a good time.
Yes, that's the man. All right, so
yeah,
The Happening. So this movie, for those of you who have lives and don't want to look into bad movies. This movie's about.
Hey! Don't
you respect your time and don't want to watch bad movies.
This movie is about so pretty much the premise.
Plants attack us with toxins.
Plants attack us, which I kind of like. I kind of like that we watch it during quarantine because it's kind of like, okay, like this is why didn't they quarantine this movie? Which I don't want to even start with, but yeah, no, I don't even know where to start, to be quite honest.
I'll start. After you do basically all the shots that were in the trailer, in the opening. And it's Mark Wahlberg's scene with like teaching his class or whatever.
Oh, so fake.
Come on, you know
That's
it's
fair.
not.
That's
It's
fair.
not.
No,
It's
no,
not
no,
Mark
she's right.
Wahlberg.
She's
It's
right.
his direction.
It's his direction. That's right. Because there's actually a video where Mark Wahlberg's talking to M.Night Shyamalan, and he's like, he even questions it.
Why would we be asking for food if the place is boarded up and nobody's lived here for a long time? What makes you think there's fresh groceries?
Two words. Canned goods.
True.
It's just, it feels so amateur. Like on every level, it feels so amateur, but it looks like everyone's having a blast. Like I imagine being on this set and every day is the best day of my life. Because I'm thinking, oh my God, today's the day where he says, my firearm is my friend. Like that's what I would be doing on this set. Like I would have so much fun.
That's fair.
Yeah, but it's hard when you have a director that's taking this so seriously. And it's just like, well, and also like this is kind of the transition that we were kind of talking about last week, where you can kind of tell that M. Night is not 100% in this anymore. Like,
I half agree.
I think
it
it depends how you look at it.
I don't think you're gonna be okay with that kind of delivery with Mark Wahlberg. I completely agree that like he has the concept. He totally had the concept when writing the script, creating it, all this stuff. But I don't think he flushed it out.
No.
I don't think he fleshed out this story.
Well,
I don't
the
think
concept
like
is it's a bad concept.
I think it is a good idea. Because have you guys ever seen 10 Cloverfield Lane?
yes.
Okay, I feel like if they did something similar to that sense, where it actually makes sense to not go outside and like everything outside's bad, then it's good. But because this is just like, oh, let's just roam about. It's fine. Everything's fine. It's fine. But there's this threat going on. It's like it doesn't make sense, which makes it very silly.
The problem is that the threat isn't threatening. We are scared of the wind. We are scared of grass. And that shit isn't scary at all. It's like, hey, the plants are killing people is the plot of this movie. And that is so stupid.
No, it's stupid, yeah. I agree.
Like, what the fuck?
But I can...
Yeah.
I
Why
see
do you think
that
they hid it from
eeriness...
the trailer?
But I see that eeriness that could have been developed. Like, I can kind of see...
I get hints of that.
I can kind of see that this could have been... This had potential. It could have been.
Well, I fucking hate Zooey Deschanel in this movie.
Thank you.
She's like a deer in the headlights.
It's not that she's even a deer in the headlights. I'm like, your character's a bitch.
Like you're talking shit about that. That is some of the best that this movie has to offer for me. Because again, as a comedy, so goddamn funny.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a comedy.
Also, can we talk about how like, but the dad leaves?
John Leguizamo.
John Leguizamo.
Yes. That choice to have him leave his daughter felt so
forced,
so uncharacteristic, because the scene before when they're in the diner, he's like scared to leave her.
Yeah,
he's scared to leave her next to Mark Wahlberg. Like it's
so
just
much
like
inconsistency in this movie.
Yeah, like that inconsistency of a character just seems super, super weird.
Can you imagine watching this movie in the theater with these obnoxious close-ups?
No,
that's worse than bad 3D.
Yeah, it is.
No, it
is because
like I would pay good money to see this movie in the theater. Don't get me wrong. I would gladly buy like tickets to see this.
God, you are so stupid.
I like to have a good time. It's like watching The Room. Like it's just you watch it to have fun.
Well, at least The Room is like, I don't know.
This is more entertaining to me than The Room.
Wow.
But The Room more iconic. Like Room is definitely that's its own thing. We can.
I would recommend The Room over this.
It's shorter.
What a story.
Romeo, personally.
I would recommend The Room.
That's why I like this.
Like
the only thing I like. Okay, there are some good things about this though. I will say I do like the shots of the bodies falling from the roof, like falling like onto the construction site.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like that. That shot was cool. I do like some of the deaths are kind of cool sometimes. Like it's really it takes you off a bit because it's like, whoa, like the thing is like his first rated R movie.
It doesn't feel like it.
It doesn't feel like a rated R movie, but it's.
I think
I guess it's good for marketing, like it's his first rated R movie.
What's your guys' favorite death or sequence of deaths?
The one where the guy's on the ground and the big the lawnmower? I don't know what the hell, the John Deere little machine.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like lingers for a long time.
That's a good one.
I love that he lets it eat his hand before his head.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh, I would prefer to feel more pain.
Yeah, exactly.
That just seems stupid. I think it's the one where the cop kills himself with his gun, and then everybody just like walks in a line and just keeps picking up the same gun.
My favorite is the dad just like surviving the car crash and then slitting his wrist.
Dude, how did he not go out the windshield? He was in the front seat and
without a seatbelt. Yeah, without a seatbelt. And I'm like,
hey, John Leguizamo does not go down easy. He does not go down easy.
Exactly.
You can't kill Sid the Sloth that crazy. You gotta,
Is that
Hey,
Sid the Sloth?
yeah, you can't.
Yeah, that's Sid the Sloth.
You can't.
Yeah.
You also can't bring down Luigi. You also can't bring
Luigi.
down Luigi. Like, it's easier for me to watch this as a comedy because it's like, okay,
because you know the plot.
Grass kills us.
You know of the plot.
Grass kills us.
Yeah.
Yes, and then versus Lady in Water, where I'm like, I'm still trying to figure out the story.
What the problem is, yeah, exactly.
But
this movie felt like a telenovela to me. It was very super dramatized.
Yeah.
And those can get real cheesy real quick, like a soap opera.
And it's just like super dramatized and listening to radios.
And it's like shots like this.
News broadcasts.
It's a bunch of shots like this, where it's like, why did you do this?
Don't take my daughter's hand unless you mean it.
I guess this will go to our ratings. I guess I could start off. I'm gonna give this movie I'm gonna give it 2.5. Yeah, I think it's a bit high, but the reason why I gave it a 2.5 is one, because it's a bit high, yeah. For this one, again, it was easy to follow. If you go into it as a comedy, it can be a good time, I suppose. I mean, it depends how you go through it. The only thing I have to say really positive with that, besides the flow of it, is the shots of the dead bodies, and the deaths are pretty cool. But other than that, I would only recommend this movie if you're trying to, you have nothing else to do, and you're super bored and you want to have a laugh, then go for it.
I'm gonna give this a 3. It's better than Lady in the Water for comprehension, but I mean, it's a garbage movie. Maybe I'll watch it again. I don't know. Maybe if I'm super drunk, or like we're all together and we're watching a movie, and like maybe
Truth or Dare,
yeah, like this is more of a Truth or Dare movie to me.
I'm giving this 1 out of 10. I would, if you want to watch a bad movie, this is probably one of them that I would recommend. Just like, again, it's also super short, so you're only suffering for like 90 minutes. No, like if you listen to what we had to say, you'll know whether or not you want to watch this. If this sounds like you'll have a fun time, give it a shot. If you're going to watch this movie and not laugh at it, you're going to be miserable. Don't do that. That's yourself.
Have a couple drinks before you watch this movie, or while you're watching this movie.
Much. Hey guys, I think that concludes our the 3 movies we're discussing. Yeah, I think with M.Night Shyamalan, it's just kind of like the down period we're going with right now. I mean, we have the next movies coming up. We have After Earth, The Last Airbender, Avatar, and The Visit. And so we will see how that goes.
I think next week is going to be a lot rougher than this week.
But yeah, I know. Check those out and join our discussion. We got more Shyamalan coming at you. Yeah, I think this was good. It was a good discussion, a little different than usual. We bashed a lot, but we had some good times with the village. So we can't be too mad about it.
Yes, that's why we're gonna be very loud next week because it's gonna be mad about everything.
Follow us on Instagram at Grimey Children. We got more stuff coming at you guys. Yeah, you guys have a great quarantine. Any last words of enlightenment from you guys?
I don't have anything stupid to say, so I'll wait until I have something stupid to say.
Stay safe during quarantine, guys.
Stay safe, guys. And thanks again for watching. Peace out.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Let's just go, let's just do it. Let's get down, get the people into it. Let's just go, let's just do it. Let's get down, get the people into it.